everybody. Welcome to East Los Angeles College. My name is Nancy Escobar, and this is going to be one of our Career Cafe interviews. I'm here on behalf of the Career and Job Services team, and today's guest is Brad. Good morning, Brad. Thanks for joining us today. Why don't we get started by introducing yourself and then telling us a little bit about your personal background, what led you to, the career path that you're in today.
Yeah. And first, good morning, Nancy. Thank you so much for interviewing me, or allowing me to be here. See a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Brad Marcus McRae. I have a PhD in business management, management, specializing in leadership and organizational change. I have my MBA in finance, and I have my bachelor's in business management. So that's a little bit about my educational experience. Professional experience, I've worked in a litany of companies across different industries. First started off with Paychecks, where I worked in payroll accounting or doing payroll accounting. Was there for a couple of years, went over to work for Raytheon, where I was doing finance. Left Raytheon, joined Fox Studios. I was at Fox Studios leading their FP&A team. Left from there, went to IBM, where I decided to do a little bit of workday consulting. So I just kind of bounced around a little bit. Left IBM, went back to Fox, and then now I'm at Ernst & Young, and my long title, very short, is just process improvement consultant. So I work for their consulting services, and I come in and evaluate processes and provide recommendations on how to make them more efficient.
Quite the journey. So now, can you tell us a bit about some of the skills that you think are most important for someone who is trying to do either your current job or some of the jobs that you've had previously, and then also elaborate maybe on some of the challenges that you're facing in your current position?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the skills that come to mind in this job and in the jobs I had before this is definitely time management. Have to learn how to manage your own time. Oral presentation skills is a must, especially when you're talking to clients or talking in front of your peers or presenting something. You have to be able to talk properly, confidently, distinctly, all that stuff. So oral presentation skills are really good. Written presentations or written communication skills, is another thing that is needed, because when you're always writing emails or drafting letters or whatever to whomever you're talking to, you need to be able to get your ideas across clearly. Another skill is confidence. People kind of always laugh at this one, but confidence is key. I cannot tell you how many times I've walked into meetings, didn't really know all the content, but I had the confidence that I did know the content, and that won them over. And then lastly is just having the skill set or the ability to learn something new every day, being open to new changes, new opportunities, being open to challenges. You'll be amazed how much you learn when you meet a challenge and you overcome it. And that's where your learning experience comes from. So those are some of the skills that I think is needed for somebody who's going into my realm. And as far as the biggest challenges go, one of the biggest challenges I've seen today has to be around people, technology, and then COVID-19. COVID-19 has disrupted numerous industries across this world, and people are trying to figure out how to deal with it. I've had some clients that just don't understand how this new way of working. When we all moved to working from home in March, it was a huge culture shift, and they were not truly prepared. But with some guidance and some coaching, we were able to help them through that. So, technology, people, those are challenges that we deal with all the time. But right now, our biggest challenge has to be COVID-19.
So now, Brad, can you tell us a little bit about what you enjoy most about the work that you do? What's the most exciting thing about work right now?
So what do I enjoy most about work? Because I work for one of the big four accounting firms, one of the things that I have to do is travel. My job is 80% travel. That's just the nature of the business. And so by default, the thing I enjoy most about it really is the traveling. The perks that are associated with traveling, all the different miles and stuff that I accumulate. That's just some of my intrinsic or personal likes about it. But some of the things outside of that is just being able to have the flexibility to work remotely. I can work basically anywhere in the world as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection. Um, I enjoy the people that I interact with, as far as like my team members, um, people that I interact with, my colleagues in the firm, as well as my clients. My clients have always been different. Different is put in a good way, but interacting with those different people has kind of given me the opportunity to expand my own thinking and expand my approach and how I deal with people and how I interact with people. And just the more I interact with my clients, I promise you, I learn something new every day, not only about them, but about myself. And then the last thing I enjoy most about where I work and what I do is just the total package of benefits that come along with it. Not talking about just compensation and not talking about just, healthcare and stuff like that, but the firm that I work for, EY, they strongly, strongly, strongly believe in their people. They are always doing, different incentives, different promotions, different things to, to keep our employees happy, to keep our employees satisfied. And there's nothing that I can say bad about, working there. That I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the firm. I enjoy everything that they have to offer. And I look forward to many, many, many more years working with EY, because it's an amazing thing, amazing place to be at, amazing time to work for them. COVID-19 definitely is an extraordinary phenomenon that has kind of caught a lot of people by surprise. And EY has definitely rolled with the punches. And just being with them has kind of taught me the same. Just roll with the punches and learn from whatever comes your way. And I think the second question, if I remember correctly, was so what's your most exciting thing? And I would have to say the most exciting thing um, that I'm working on right now is working on a couple of proposals for different clients, all around diversity and inclusion. So, because as you're aware, recent events in the news the last couple of weeks ago, a month ago, or so on, a lot of companies, a lot of organizations are taking a internal look at themselves and their practices and how they handle diversity and inclusion. And so, being a part of those teams and being a part of those proposals and help shifting how organizations start looking at diversity and start looking at inclusion and seeing how they best represent the values of us or their own company. It's interesting how they're doing that reflective look and contracting out and seeing how they can get more people involved to help shape their DNI outlook. So it's really fascinating.
What recommendations should students explore as they start to enter this field? What do you think are some of the common entry level jobs to go into the type of role that you have today, Jeff?
Yeah. So some of the recommendations that I have that just come to mind, excuse me, is just the importance of learning technology, more specifically Microsoft, 365, learning all the different suites, honing those hard skills, because you'd be surprised how often we actually use the computer and use PowerPoint and Excel, and just having a leg up on those skills, uh, primarily Excel and PowerPoint, will give you a good head start in my field. um, Additionally, just doing some research on different career opportunities within the realm of business, because when you think about business, most times people always automatically assume finance or accounting. But there's so much more to business. You have change management, you have supply chain, you have marketing, Those are just some of the areas that you can look at if, for some reason, accounting and finance scares you. There's different options that you can go down, within business. Look at some of the summer internship opportunities as well. I know EY has a summer internship program, and they pick a lot of their candidates from schools around the world. So definitely look into that. And then lastly, look into some type of certification. I know one of the main certifications that a lot of clients that I've worked for, they look for or they like, not for just a consulting people, but when they're hiring staff on their team, is that they're looking for people with a PMP. That's a project management certification. There's different levels to it, but basically what that shows is that if you can sit down and take the test and pass the test, you are a qualified and a certified project manager. It means you can manage projects, do whatever you need to, whatever project is given to you, you can plan it out and you can make sure it's executed properly. So those are some of the recommendations that I have. Now, as far as like entry-level jobs in my field, uh, one of them I know for example, at EY, or most consultants, if you're hired in right out of school, you start off as a staff and then you work your way up. If you're outside of the consulting or the big four firms, some of the other entry-level positions would be like a financial analyst, or even a business analyst. The titles are often shifting based upon the needs of the business, but those are just some of the three generic ones. But of course, if you go out and look and see, you might see slight variations between the financial analyst or business analyst. They'll call it whatever they want, depending on the company and the organization. But generally, those three, staff, financial analyst, and business analyst, would be your common entry-level job roles.
And then those would be available right after the bachelor's level?
Yes. So depending on the organization, depends on the level of education that they're expecting from you. But most of the times you can land a staff financial analyst or business analyst job with right out of right out of school with the bachelor's, as long as you have the education and the skill set behind it. Like if you have a degree in nursing, then I wouldn't see how you would be able to kind of make your way over to as a financial analyst. But if you have some type of degree or some type of skill set in, IT, or just basic accounting or basic finance, or even like bookkeeping, those are skill sets that will add on to, or you'd be able to continue to grow and hone, um, as like a staff or a financial analyst or a business analyst.
So this last question, Brad, just to wrap up a little bit. So you've told us a little bit about, like what has led you to your current position, and what you're doing now. If you could do it all over again, how would you do it differently, if at all?
Yeah, if I could do it all over again, what I would do though is I would have focused more on internships during while I was a student during undergrad and during my master's program. And more specifically, I would have, focused on internships working for, one of the big four, either EY, Deloitte, KPMG, or, PwC. Um, because I know firsthand that working for one of those companies or some of the other accounting firms out there, they will prepare you for the real world. And I had to learn all my experience, from the industry, which is also a very valid and valuable avenue into consulting. But growing up in consulting, like starting your career there as an intern and working your way up, um, like I've just seen some of my other peers and some of the other staff members that are underneath me. Um, they are phenomenal employees. They're phenomenal people. They're so knowledgeable, and they have a wealth of information that they're willing to share. And they've only gotten that information really through going through projects and experiencing a multitude of different things, because no two projects are alike, and they've just been able to grow from every experience. So if I could do it all over again, I would have started off, I would have actually went in, forced myself to do an internship, and then worked my way through, and then eventually got in and started my career as a staff with EY. And because I'm pretty sure my knowledge and my skill set would be a lot different from what it is right now. And I feel like it would be even broader if I would have went that route.
If EY would have had you from the very beginning.
If they would have had me from the very beginning, but you know, I was too busy. I was too busy having fun. I was in my 20s, low 20s. I was busy having fun. But you know what? I say that to say, at the end of it all, I'm doing pretty good, so I'm not too upset about it.
Well, thank you so much, Brad, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. And yeah, best of luck in like the years to come.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much, Nancy, for having me. And if you need anything else, just feel free to reach out.